Unbreakable bonds. A father's love story. The rain poured relentlessly that night, tapping against the hospital window like a cruel reminder of how fragile life truly was. Inside a small room, a man sat on a cold chair, clutching the tiny hand of his 6-year-old daughter. Machines beeped steadily beside her, each sound echoing both fear and hope inside his heart. He hadn't eaten in hours, hadn't slept in days, yet his eyes never left her face. He whispered quietly, "Daddy's here, sweetheart. I'm not going anywhere." That was Arman, a father who had been broken by life more times than he could count, but never once allowed his love for his daughter Aisha to shatter. His wife had passed away in a car accident when Aisha was only 2, leaving him to raise her alone. People whispered behind his back, "How will a man raise a little girl? He doesn't even know how to braid hair." But Arman never let their words touch him. He may not have known how to braid, but he learned. He may not have known how to comfort a child in the way a mother would, but he made mistakes, wiped his tears in secret, and tried again. Every bedtime story he told, every lunchbox he packed, every late night he spent sewing buttons back onto her uniform, each was proof of a bond that nothing could break. Their life was simple, but full of love. Arman worked as a mechanic, earning just enough to pay bills and put food on the table. He would often come home with grease on his hands, yet still sit with Aisha to do her homework. They didn't have expensive toys, but they had long walks, silly jokes, and warm hugs that healed tired souls. For Aisha, her father was her hero. For Arman, she was his reason to keep breathing. But life is never kind for long. One morning, Aisha fainted at school. The doctors diagnosed her with a serious heart condition. Treatment was possible but painfully expensive. When Arman heard the amount, his legs gave way. He had no savings, no property to sell, no relatives wealthy enough to help. He felt as though the world had collapsed. But then he looked at his daughter's innocent face as she smiled weakly at him and said, "Don't cry, Daddy. I'll be okay because you're here." And in that moment, Arman knew he would move mountains if he had to. He worked double shifts at the garage, fixing cars until his hands bled. He sold his motorbike, the only thing he had ever owned for himself. At night, he picked up part-time jobs, delivering food, cleaning shops, carrying boxes at warehouses. Every coin he saved, he counted again and again, whispering to himself, "This is for her. This is for my little girl." Yet the money never seemed enough. The hospital bills kept growing, and one night, exhausted, he broke down in front of Aisha. He apologized, saying he wasn't sure if he could save her. She gently wiped his tears with her tiny hand and whispered, "Daddy, you always say I'm strong because I'm your daughter, so you have to be strong because you're my dad." Those words lit a fire in Arman's heart. He refused to let despair win. The community soon heard about his struggle. Neighbors, customers from the garage, even strangers came forward to help. Some donated money, some food, some simply offered prayers. It wasn't easy for Arman to accept help. His pride had always been strong, but he realized love sometimes means letting others carry you when you cannot stand alone. Months of sacrifice, sleepless nights, and prayers later, Aisha underwent surgery. Arman sat outside the operating room for hours, hands trembling, tears streaming silently down his face. He replayed every memory in his mind, the first time he held her after she was born, her first steps, her laughter echoing in their tiny home. He whispered again and again, "Please, God, don't take her. Take everything I have, but not her." Finally, the doors opened. The doctor came out with a tired smile and said, "She made it. She's going to be fine." Arman collapsed to his knees, sobbing with relief. His little girl had been given a second chance at life. When Aisha woke up and saw her father's face, pale with exhaustion, but glowing with joy, she whispered, "I told you, Daddy, you're my hero." From that day on, life slowly returned to normal. It wasn't easier. Bills still needed to be paid. Sacrifices still had to be made, but they had something stronger than any obstacle: an unbreakable bond. Years later, when Aisha graduated, she held her father's hand and dedicated her success to him. "Everything I am, everything I will ever be," she said proudly in front of everyone, "is because my father never gave up on me." Arman's eyes welled with tears, but this time they were tears of fulfillment. He hadn't just raised a daughter, he had raised hope, love, and resilience. The story of Arman and Aisha is not just about a father and a daughter, it's about how love, when pure and selfless, becomes unbreakable. It teaches us that even when the world doubts you, even when the challenges seem impossible, the strength of a parent's love can overcome anything. Sometimes, heroes don't wear capes. Sometimes, they wear oil-stained shirts, carry heavy burdens, and whisper lullabies in the dark. Sometimes, they are simply called Dad.